colonialism, how they get into the country, out. They are significantly marginalized. A stateless person has no identity. They don't exist. And whereas we trekked to State House to meet the President, Uhuru Kenyatta, before, Baba had told us, please make sure you help as many stateless communities in this country to get an ID. Sometimes I get offended when I hear the stories of Northern Kenya and the vetting of IDs. Because the one person who really spoke about why we need to foster inclusion of all the areas, including Northern Kenya, for the longest time and consistently, was Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. Please, let us memorialize his history and what he stood for in the best way possible. In the best way possible. When it was time to align, we never struggled as civil society, because the things we stood for was what Baba stood for. I work at ISA, we love devolution. We have been to Supreme Court, now we are in the Court of Appeal on the CDF. What did Baba say on CDF? There are numerous instances where he has pleaded with members of parliament, please just do your work of oversight, representation, and legislation. Let CDF money remain with the governors and the communities. That was Baba. Baba even believed in one county, one product. Hamko mnafuata kampeni ya Baba, by the way? From Baba Care. One county, one product. Baba hated provincial administration. He was very clear that this is what we needed to emancipate ourselves from. There are rumors that is why they couldn't cooperate with him in 2022. Those are rumors. But he always stood for devolution and bringing resources and power closer to the people. Will that dream die now that we are seeing 12 years of devolution and we are yet to transfer and unbundle functions? If anything, the summit now comes together to discuss how we will retain more resources at the national level, be it health, be it market. Surely Baba fought for something that is worth all of us fighting for, so that we finally realize the dream that he had for us. Finally, on debt. And hapa kila mtu mwenye ako na chama, nimekuja na gazeti ambayo tunasoma hii wiki, inaitwa The People's Audit. Imesambazwa kwa kila meza, and I will make sure I give it to the newspapers, to the delegates who are here. The People's Audit just finds we are where we are in a debt crisis because of corruption, which we are just calling, it's a nicer name. Kwamchetsi taught me that corruption does not exist in our vernacular language. Is that so? Yeah? Right? I can, now I will not lie. I have seen people who know me for many years. I will not lie. Corruption does not exist in our vernacular. And Baba, when he spoke about debt, he said, what we are doing to the children we have and the unborn children is satanic. Ni ushetani kabisa. Because we are creating a generation of millions of children who will be born poor. while creating a 1% of children who are benefiting from stolen wealth. If you thought economic justice was removed from transitional justice, Baba knew otherwise. It is at the heart of what we are. Today is the International Human Rights Day. The one thing that is taking away from us the realization of human rights. I would have spoken to education, health, but imagine paka polisi hawana pesa. Sababu ya ni deni, but deni ndio iko hapa juu. Chini ni sababu ya wizi. And I'm told EACC is disputing a figure we have of 3 billion. We are saying we are losing 3 billion every year. This figure was first calculated by the Kenya Association of Manufacturers last year. Cumulatively, what we lose is 3 billion a day. 3 billion a day. We borrow about the same amount every day. If we were not losing money to corruption, to theft, we would not be in debt. So whether you sell Safaricom or you buy new gold in Kakamega, until you deal with the thieves, we are only addressing the symptoms. And Baba had seen. Didn't he tell us what to boycott? I will stop there. Nimeambua sisi ndio vegetables and say, Baba, rest in power. Long live the spirit of Raila Amolo, long live. Asante sana.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much, Diana. Diana is a Baba fanatic, but a good one. I would like to recognize the presence of Joseph Wambua of United Disabled Persons of Kenya, Julie Okara of the Kenya National Interface Team, Ms. Caroline Gaita, Mzalendo Trust, my brother Irungu Houghton, ED Amnesty International Kenya, Ms. Mercy Mwangi, Executive Director of Kenya Women Parliamentarians Association, Mr. Dennis Bundi, of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, from Strathmore, Inuka, Nisisi, Youth Agenda, Kipra, CIAG, Kenya. I can't recognize Diana, she's just been here. And the Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, Secretary General of Jubilee Party. Karibuni sana. We've dealt with the vegetables, but now we must have soup. So I'm going to invite 5Cs. We have 2 bands playing for us. The first ones who are playing are called Tamasha, and they did a very good job, and we'll have them again. But we were remiss not to mention that there are 2 bands, and 5Cs are also here. So we'd like them to just produce a bit of mchuzi, and then as they are getting to the top, we are getting ready now to listen to the meat of the occasion. As they find their way to the front, and CMD has been around for a while, and they are pillars of this institution. I'll just run through very, very quickly because I'm preparing the Honorable. I insist on the Honorable. I know he's His Excellency, but I insist on the Honorable. Here there was the Professor Amukoa Anangwe, who was chair. Then there was Professor Apollo Njonjo, Professor Larry Gumbe. All these are former chairs. There was the Honorable Justin B. Muturi, Omingo Magara, Abushiro Halake, Honorable Priscilla Nyokabi, and now the man of the hour. But before we get there, I'll just invite 5Cs, please. It's your moment.
Joey! Atukumbuki Joey. Joey. Thank you so much. Karibu sana, Sophie.
Oh yeah, yeah, hey. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey. Oh yeah, yeah, hey. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey. Oh yeah, yeah, hey. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey. Oh yeah, yeah, hey. Oh yeah. We greet you all in the name of peace, freedom, and democracy for all of us. Our sincere and warmest gratitude goes to the millions of our compatriots and to those in every corner of the globe who have relentlessly supported our struggles for liberty against oppression, exploitation, and poverty. We salute the rank and file members of all formations of mass democratic movements, political parties, religious communities, and the working classes of our countries. We cannot forget the young people of this nation. The young people of this nation. We pay particular tribute to our gallant youth, the Gen Zs of this country, who continue to fight for the struggles that we have somehow left the gap in between. Oh yeah, yeah, hey. Oh yeah, 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 hey. Oh yeah, yeah, hey. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We greet you mothers, any mother in the house or sisters, wives and sisters of our nations. You are the rock-hard foundation of our struggle. Many evil and brutal systems have inflicted more pain on you than on anyone else. The breath and soul of our nation truly belongs to the people of this nation. We salute you all. Idumu Kenya! The 5-6 Theatre is very happy to be here today. And thanks to our mentors who were there before. We've been here together for 30 years, since 1995. Jerry, we salute you. Today we are here. Otorongwen, we remember you. We see all the people, Super Churchill, you're here. The organizations that have built us, that we've worked together, CMD, KHRC, NCC. And Diana, you know the gaps and where we've come from and where we're doing. And people keep asking us, hey, mnataka kukua wa shosho kwa hii movement. It's because we've not gotten what Baba wanted us to get. When we were the Gen Zs, Baba used to talk to us a lot. And so he loved the anthem. So now today, in honor of Baba, we'd request each one of you to kindly stand up so we can sing the alternative anthem of the struggle. We say that in every struggle, there must be an alternative. We have the Kenya national anthem that we love, that's a prayer. But we also have the alternative anthem of our struggle because we're in the struggle. So we kindly request you to just stand up and sing along with us if you know the song. Kupikwa na kupokonywa maisha, hakutatuzuia sisi wananchi kunyakua uhuru wetu na haki ya jasho letu na haki ya jasho letu. Tumekataa kupiga magoti mbele ya hawa wauaji. Bila shaka sisi pia ni watu, hali ya utumwa tume
First, we'll do one more.
A round of applause to the 5Cs band. Asanteni sana. I think you can remain in place for a few minutes. Kindly allow us to go back to our program. It is with pleasure that I want to invite the chairperson of the Center, CMD, Center for Multi-Party Democracy Kenya, the person who's made this possible today, so that he can give his remarks, given that there is somewhere where he needs to be urgently subsequent to this event. Bwana Honorable His Excellency Kiraitu Murungi. Thank you. Makofi ya chair, tafadhali.
Asante sana wakili. You don't have to struggle too much about excellencies, honorable, what. Just call me Kiraitu, and that's good enough. I'm very, very happy. I'm very, very happy to be with you today and seeing some old friends. Our vice chair is here, Senator Siengo. A very old friend, Jerry Kabeberi, who actually introduced me to this travel. I met her, that time she was working for an insurance company, way back in the 70s. And she's the only woman who earned some money. So, she paid fees for Koiwa Mwere when he had been detained without trial, not during Moi's time, during Kenyatta's time, the Kenyatta one. And we tried to find out whether she was his girlfriend, but she said she didn't know him. But she felt she had to support him. Can we appreciate her? So allow me to read a short speech which I made. Family of the late Raila Odinga, seen led by Honorable Winnie Odinga, our vice chair, Senator Mbedi Siengo, CMD, board members and staff who have put all this together. Allow me to call you all fellow lovers of democracy. See my old friend, Honorable Yeremia Kioni, is among you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the chairman of the CMD. I think Mako has read the list of those who went ahead of me. So, but I'm currently the chair. And at CMD, we were formed in early 20s, early 2000 and something, with the sole purpose of protecting multi-party democracy in the country. Protecting it, and we do it in two ways: strengthening the capacity of various political parties, and secondly, trying to promote multi-party cooperation in key areas affecting our nation. So we promote the dialogue. You saw us with the PDF, the People's Dialogue Forum, which we had at Uhuru Park with about 3,000 people, and we do it continuously because we don't want the fires of democracy, to die in this country. So, as chair of Center for Multi-Party Democracy, it's my singular honor and pleasure to welcome all of you to this historic occasion where we are celebrating the International Human Rights Day under the theme Human Rights, Our Everyday Essentials, by celebrating and honoring the father of multi-party democracy in Kenya, the late Right Honorable Raila Omoro Odinga. I've been requested to make a few remarks on Raila the Enigma. And before I do so, this young man from Chetty, we used to have problems with him when I was a member of parliament, because he used to say that Wananchi don't love us. And we asked him why. He says, no, they're just following you the way flies follow a carcass. So the flies love the dead animal, or they're just following the food. Yeah, so when I saw him here today, I remember that. So it's not easy for me to talk about Raila as an enigma, because an enigma is a person who is mysterious, a person who is difficult to understand, and a person who is impossible to fully explain. So how am I supposed to talk about that? I think one of the people, a philosopher who has inspired revolutionaries and reformers for centuries, is Karl Marx. But I think those who have read closely about Karl Marx, you know, his funeral is the funeral of Karl Marx was attended by only 11 people. And at that time, you know, it was like he had lost, it's like he had lost the spark, the fire, you know, that time. And he stood the risk of even being forgotten. But if you compare him with Raila Odinga, the funeral of Raila Odinga was attended by hundreds of thousands, you know, of Kenyans. And you saw what happened at Kango, Jaramogi, making a pilgrimage. A lot of people from all walks of life showed up there. We in CMD were not able to deliver any bulls to Kango Kanjaramogi to show our respect, but we thought we could do this forum as our own way of delivering our bulls for Raila. A lot of things have been said and written about Raila, especially after his death, and I believe a lot more is going to be said. And there will be a debate about Raila and what he stood for, what he said, for many decades to come. I think it can be true to say Raila has been at the center of every political struggle in this country from 1980s until the time of his death. And no Kenyan has made greater personal sacrifices for democracy and freedom in this country more than the late Honorable Raila Omoro Odinga. I think this is a fact of history. You might like him or you might dislike him, but you can't change that fact. It is true. Personally, I met Raila in Shimoratewa prison way back in 1984. He had been detained without trial for his alleged participation in planning the aborted coup of 1982. You know, I can give you the inner story. For you to be taken to court for treason, then you require corroboration from an independent witness. So Raila could not be taken to court because there was no independent witness. Anybody who would have been in court was a person who would either be implicated or not. So there are no evidence to take Raila to court, or even to charge him with treason. So they took a shortcut of detaining him without without trial. And those days, even lawyers were not around to see detained people, although they are clear rights in the Constitution. So we had to take the Attorney General to court for us to get an order to be allowed to go and see Raila in Subsribe prison and not know where we were being taken. We were put in a chopper and through from Wilson Airport, wakapigam around, but finally they took us to Shimoratewa, and where I found Raila and staged a hunger strike in prison. They are not eaten for a number of days, and he was saying, "You rather die rather than eat this food." They were giving terrible food. So I remember it was my first time to meet him, and we had quite an argument. And I was telling him, if you die, what do you think Moi would think? Wouldn't Moi be celebrating that you are dead? So, so we convinced him to eat, survive, so that he can live and fight Moi, another day. So the officer in charge, we asked to see the food he was eating. So they brought eggs and rice, and then so we asked Raila, "Is this the food you have refused to eat?" So Raila said no. So then we said, "Okay, from now on, let him be given this food because you have no problem with it." Because the next time we tried to see him, we were not there, then taken him to Naivasha. So that's how we got to know Raila. And those days, because they had changed the constitution in 1982 to make Kano the only law-of party in the country, and making opposition, any form of opposition, illegal. So there was no other way of removing Moi and Kano from power. So it was legitimate to overthrow him through the force of arms. And for us those days, revolution was acceptable. And in fact, it was the only way of removing live presidents, from power. And we were inspired by other revolutions of the world, Fidel Castro in Cuba. We had read books from Franz Fanon, Che Guevara, all those people. And Raila really liked Fidel Castro. That is why his son was called Fidel. And then near South Africa, near home South Africa, there was Winnie Mandela. That is why this lady is called Winnie. She was called Winnie Mandela. She was called Winnie after Winnie Mandela, so she was a namesake. And even my own children, my son is called Fanon, and my daughter is also called Winnie after Winnie Mandela. Yeah, so we thought we would remove Moi through a revolution. And that was those like Raila, Koigi, and the others were trying to do, those days. And then there were very many underground movements, with all manner of names. Until we met a priest in Vika, a German priest. He was called Father Max Stata. He had come from Latin America. And he had seen a lot of coups, the military in that country. And he was telling us the coups and the military takeovers will not be the right way to go. Because it's okay, Moi can be removed through the force of arms. But when the military get in, how are you going to remove them, from power? So a military regime can only be removed through another military coup, isn't it? Even a revolutionary government, once in power, can also be removed only through another revolutionary government. And this would cause a cycle of bloodshed. And Africa will be forever in chaos, anarchy, because of this manner. And that is why the struggle for multi-party democracy became important, because at least there will be a limitation of the terms of the rulers, and there will be a democratic way of removing. You don't like them, you can remove them through the ballot box and all that. So this struggle to change Section 2A, so that we can return the country back to multipartyism, was informed by our understanding that there's a futility in trying to change through armed struggle. And Raila again became the champion of fighting for this democratic space, for the second revolution. We were younger people, Raila was a few years older, but he was the leader of the young Turks. And we did not have sufficient contact with the people or politics, so we had to work with all the people who were there then, the veterans, Jaramogi himself, Kinamwaside Muliro, and others. It is the struggle for multi-party democracy which introduced us to a country. I have not been in a place like Mandera. I went there in 1992 to campaign for Jaramogi in those days. And I remember when we landed there, instructions were given that we should not sleep in any hotel in Mandera. There was a small hotel there called Red Sea Hotel where we had been booked. But immediately we got in, the manager came out, the hotel was empty, but he came out and told us, I'm sorry, the hotel is full. But we had already been booked. So we moved on to the Mandera County Hostel, which was owned by the county council. The manager was very, very happy to receive us. And we were taken to our rooms. But immediately after that, we had a woman screaming at the front office. And we came to know her husband had been arrested. And she had been told, so long as we were in the hotel, her husband would remain in prison. So she had come to plead with the manager to flush us out of the hotel so that her husband can be released. So eventually we were also pushed out of this hotel. But there was another Muzee, I think was called Ibrahim, who took us to his compound, and it was ward. He bought mattresses for us, and for 4 days we slept under a tree, under a mango tree, in Mandera. That we intended to stay for so many days. The aeroplane which we had chartered and take us to Mandera, when it came back to Nairobi, they were told not to go back. So we were stranded there. Yes. So I don't want to bore you with more of these stories. Finally, the struggle succeeded. We got multi-party democracy, but the structures of Kanu were still in place. We were just a democracy on paper. The dictatorship, the chiefs, and whatever continued. So, and although we had been elected to parliament, I remember I myself was caned by an AP in Nyeri as a member of parliament to the chapel, Biboko. So, I think, the struggle continued for another 10 years or so. Then we tried the elections. Of course, there was sham. We couldn't win. Then we tried to bring opposition together because Moi was winning with only 30% of the votes. And then we couldn't agree. And when Jaramogi passed on in 1994, then 1997, without Moi and becomes one popular that anybody can defeat him. So that's how Raila, Wamalwa, Ngilu, and the others, all of them stood because we were thinking Moi would be number 4 or number 5. But again, he beat us. And then we started now reorganizing ourselves again. And fortunately, this time, Ngilu, Wamalwa, and Kibaki agreed to support Kibaki for presidency, Wamalwa for vice. And then Raila had gone into Kanu. He's the one who kicked Kamodo, the Secretary General, out of Kanu. And, he, of course, he is accused of being compromised, etc., etc. But I met somebody called Sir David Steele. We went to we were the election monitors in South Africa when Thabo Mbeki was coming in. So we spent a lot of time with Sir David Steele because he was the leader of our team. And he was a friend of the Raila family for a long, long time. So I asked David Steele, please tell me the truth. How come Raila went to work with Moi? And he told me they had done their own analysis and they are the ones who advised you to work with Moi and try to weaken Kanu from within. Because now, the way we were, we couldn't win. So, and Raila went there, and for sure he shook them because kicking Kamodo out of and becoming the Secretary General of Kanu was not a simple thing. Then Moi handed over to Uhuru. So it was some bonus for us because this brought Raila brought back with him Kalonzo, Saitoti, and many other people. And so it was very easy for us now to win in 2002. Unfortunately, we fought again among ourselves now. After 2002, the composition of the cabinet, there was a quarrel between, there was a secret MOU, how they had divided seats among themselves, which was not honored. And this is what caused the problems. Many of us didn't know about that secret memorandum. So, and this is what led us to lose the referendum for 2005 for the new constitution, and also caused the post-election violence of 2007, 2008. But now, after the negotiations, Raila came in as Prime Minister. We were ministers with him, and we worked very well with Raila. I was the Minister for Energy. Raila was very passionate about energy because he had Minister for Energy during Moi's time. We traveled with him, and he encouraged me a lot. Raila was an engineer. He understood energy better than me. So he's the one who told me in Europe, those people don't have hydro and the other power which they are talking about. They use nuclear energy. And the best way for us is for us to go for nuclear energy in the country. They say France is even exporting nuclear energy to Spain. So why can't we have nuclear energy and export? Yeah, so we started the nuclear energy project. He took me to Korea, we negotiated for it. We went to France, and we appointed Ochiro Ayako to be the head of this project, because then he was the previous minister. And I think the project is still running, but it has not materialized fully, because by now we should have nuclear energy in the country. Then he came up with an idea of kerosene-free Kenya. He said it was very easy. Instead of using mafuta ya taa, why don't we get solar panels? So during the day, you put the panel outside the house, and then it gets power. You can charge your phones. There was even a cooking demonstration in Moranga. Women making a very with the solar. Yeah. So, in addition to pioneering democracy, I think Raila was also the pioneer of green energy, in this country. He was a very forward-looking person. Then, 2010 Constitution. Actually, Raila was the driver of the 2010 Constitution. And now that we are working together on both PNU and ODM, it was easy. So he appointed Anyang' Nyong'o and Janet Ongera into the referendum secretariat. And then I worked with Anyang' Nyong'o from the PNU side and Professor Kawanja. And so we are the ones who were in charge of that campaign. We drove it. Raila started, but he got unwell. I think we were campaigning for the constitution in Nairobi, in Damu Estate. But after he got unwell, we continued the campaign with Kibaki. And because the two contestants were now working together, it was easy to deliver the 2010 constitution. Unfortunately, the church and the current president who were against it at that particular time. But we won. The constitution has opened space. It brought in new ideas about devolution, inclusivity. Actually, it's the most progressive constitution we have in Africa today, because we had even looked at the South African constitution, and they decided, to move a bit higher than the South African constitution. Now, because I don't want to talk forever, let me deal with an aspect about Raila, the enigma. Raila has been in every government. He tried the elections very many times, many disputed, but Raila always emerged with a lot of popularity, even after the elections. And there is no government which could rule in Kenya without support of Raila. So he had to support. Moi could not rule without Raila. Kibaki could not rule without Raila. Uhuru could not rule without Raila. And even Ruto cannot rule without Raila. There are very many people who have gone out, especially among you in social media, saying Raila is a traitor, he has betrayed the people, he has perpetuated status quo. I want to tell you, whenever Raila was, his mission was one. Just like he had gone to dismantle Kanu. He got into every regime with an idea of moving the reform forward. He never abandoned, whatever situation he found himself. Even now, with Ruto, he has a 10-point agenda, isn't it? Is that not a progressive agenda? So, if for me, say anything else, but we shall always remember Raila for his patriotism, his fight for freedom, the constitutional electoral reform, and inclusivity. Now, as I sit down, we at the Center for Multi-Party Democracy are worried about the trajectory of our democracy. We seem to have made 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards. We know people are angry. The elections themselves have actually become a threat to democracy, not only in Kenya, but in Africa. And you can see the youth have given up. they are united, their chemistry and the regimes are wide apart. That's why they are declaring themselves partyless, leaderless, and tribalist, everything less. We have been trying to follow that trajectory. And sometimes very good intentions can also take us backwards. We have seen, for example, the Gen Z revolution in Madagascar. Very progressive in what they are talking, but because of that leaderlessness, because of partylessness, they create a governance vacuum, which is occupied by the military and the other conservative forces. So, although we are fighting for multi-party democracy, we feel this could also be a threat, because we can take the country back to where it came from in 1980s and all that. So as you are debating, my friends, please let us engage with the young people and let us see, whereas their demands are legitimate, can we find a way of sustaining, those demands? One way that we can continue with the Raila's dream is to make sure that this country will never go back to dictatorship or military dictatorship through any form. I think for me, that is the message I could have. And I think if Raila was alive, he would continue fighting to protect and promote the gains of democracy in this country. Long live Raila.
Long live.
Thank you very much. I would like to request you to please appreciate the Honorable Kiraitu Murungi just once more. Thank you so much. My colleague didn't do the introduction properly because he was running. He's rushing out of time. I'm preparing the band because you are going to welcome Mheshimiwa. But to sort of just prepare the ground. The Honorable Kiraitu Murungi, as he told you, he went to Shimoletewa, and this I was picking up from the history books. He was among those crazy, brave lawyers who would represent people like Raila, specifically Raila. They went and they represented him. He was a young advocate then. I think he was also teaching at the university. You can tell that from the way, he's got this slow burn. When ukichapwa nyahunyo na intellectual, they do it slowly, very, very gently, but it lands. So, like that thing he said about being partyless, it's landed in a very uncomfortable place, but it's a true place. Kiraitu, I met the Honorable Kiraitu in my youth. He probably doesn't remember that. He was preparing a manuscript called In the Mud of Politics. And I've always used that as a sort of guidepost for understanding him. Because he engages in politics almost as a mission of necessity. Because I think he's more on this side, he's more on the human rights side, and the politics, he does it as pragmatism. And if you go into beyond politics, conversations with him, an Odyssey in Politics, those are books that, show some of his thoughts. You see that he's very, very deliberate about how he thinks about this country. Of course, he was our first minister for constitutional affairs, and so created the architecture and the movement for reform. And so you can see that. And of course, I didn't know the story, Mheshimiwa, about Mandela. I'm learning some of those things, and the Nyeri one, I didn't know about them. Please, we are very grateful that you are able to be vulnerable and to speak about those things. We need that record to be complete. He's a founder, as I mentioned earlier before we walked into the room. He's one of the 5 founders of the Kenya Human Rights Commission. They founded this commission in exile because you couldn't register a civil society organization in this country. And they had the foresight. They had the foresight to say, if we are going to do this separately, we are going to be hung separately. And we have to find a way of doing this together. And I'm saying that as a way of sort of just tying it together with the logic of organizing around political parties, which is, I think, the thrust of what he was saying, which is that our individual agency is important, but it's also important for us to organize in groups and in movements and in parties. We probably remember him more recently as the governor of Meru, but before that, as I was saying, he was Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, and he moved very big pieces in this country. He moved very, very big pieces to just help us to reset. Some of the books I've had the privilege of looking at, which are coming out soon, I edit in my nightlife. Some of the books that are coming out soon is that you will know that was one of the people who was figuring out how to do how to retire the Golden Bag Ghost. So set up the Golden Bag Commission, set up the Ndungu Land Commission. So then you can see how it dovetails with the life of Raila Odinga and the struggles that he was doing. So if you're actually looking for a compatriot, I think both Raila's admirers and his family have a true friend in Kiraitu Murungi, and we see that friendship in the convening of this forum. Thank you very, very much. Of course, recently, I don't know if he's still there, but until recently, he was also a commissioner of the Kenya Law Reform Commission. Obviously, I have to tell you this, as somebody who has pretended to teach at university, he went to Harvard. So, the band, 2 numbers. 2 numbers, as we prepare the Honorable Winnie Odinga, I hope that's sort of fair warning. If we do some 2 numbers, then, play something she likes. Yeah. Thank you very much.
I think we'll start with one that Baba really loves. And one day, in a very honorable space like this, he just called upon us through one of our comrades, Gedhuku, and asked him, please, can you sing the original song of Mambo Ni Yale Yale? But because of the many political contexts that have happened in the country, so we keep changing our songs to suit the times. So we didn't have the original lyrics then, because we keep on changing just to go with the trend. We want our songs to be trendy and to everybody to feel part and parcel of that. So we're going to sing the original version of the song Mambo Ni Yale Yale. Njidi, I know you love this song as well. So, yeah, so here we go. Ni yale, mambo ni yale, ni yale, mambo ya ukoloni. Ni yale, mambo ni yale, ni yale.
Bring it down, bring it down. Sophie. We cannot sing and people are sitting. This is reggae. And Baba said nobody can stop reggae. Take it from the top once again. Toward you. Weka kidole juu namna hii. Twende. Joey. Yale, mambo ni yale, mambo ya ucholoni. Ni yale, mambo ni yale, mambo ya ukoloni. Mambo ni yale, watu wetu wa kila mahali, na yote kwa makombo wanayotupiwa na wadhalimu wanyonyaji walimo nchini mwetu kama ile. Yep. Greetings in the name of the Most High. Joey. Tunanunua kuni kutoka misitu yetu, tunatiririkwa na jasho katika ardhi yetu, na faida ni kwa wadhalimu waliotukalia mapato ya jasho letu. Hadithi ile, ni yale, mambo ni yale, mambo ya ukoloni. Ni yale,
wetu wa Kenya tunatolea jasho, kile kizuri tunatupiwa mabaki, ambapo ingekuwa na tule kile kinono, chakula chetu wenyewe tunatolea jasho. Ni yale yale
Mambo ni yale yale, ni yale yale, mambo ya ukoloni ni yale yale, mambo ni yale yale, ni yale yale, mambo ya ukoloni.
Pio Mama Pinto, Chris Hani, na Steve Biko, na Tito Adungosi, Mama ile Koitalian, JM Karaoke, Modoni Bekati, na sasa Jenzi's wetu, ni yupi mwingine. Ni yale yale,
Mambo ni yale yale,
ni yale,
ni yale yale, mambo ya ukoloni
ni yale yale, mambo ni yale yale, ni yale yale, mambo ya ukoloni. Tutavunja vunja vunja vunja, tutakata kata, tutabonda bonda minyororo ya wadhalimu. Hey, tutavunja vunja vunja vunja, tutakata kata, tutabonda bonda minyororo ya wadhalimu. Na tupamoja na nyinyi, tupamoja na nyinyi, tupamoja na nyinyi, tupamoja na nyinyi, mashujaa wa Kenya, tupamoja na nyinyi, tupamoja na nyinyi, tupamoja na nyinyi wa Kenya, tupamoja na nyinyi wa Kenya, mashujaa wa Kenya. Ya 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 ya, oh ya 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 ya, ya 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 ya, ya 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 kupigwa rungu, webaki nyuma sitwaenda na haki. Kupigwa rungu, webaki nyuma sitwaenda na haki. Hata mateso, webaki nyuma sitwaenda na haki. Mateso, webaki nyuma sitwaenda na haki. Ya 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 ya. Simama, simama, simama imara. Simama, Raila. Simama, simama, simama imara. Whoa.
Ole yo.
Five says, thank you. Thank you very much. You remind me of my youthful years. I hope you're all settled now. And I like the way that we are all managing the time so that we are not in a rush. I think we want to be able to listen to one another. The estate of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga is so large that, you know, even if we were to fight over that inheritance, we would not finish it. Everybody sort of takes apart, and there's still so much left. And the memories, I mean, there are things I'm hearing today that so I am preparing the Honorable Winnie Odinga to come to the stage. So I just tell you one small anecdote. I don't know her personally. I've seen her in public. I think there was a slight moment there. We almost met in just before the 2017 election. And the little I know about her, that I think being, in terms of the birth order, being where she is in terms of the birth order, she probably was the one who, I don't know if felt or extended or mirrored the compassion of Raila Odinga. I think mirrored is probably the right word. She mirrored the compassion of Raila Odinga more than everything else that we see. Was this complex mosaic of things. We all saw and took away whatever it is that we wanted to. But the 2013 election was particularly difficult in terms of how it panned out, how it ended, went to the court decided it's not listening to some of the evidence. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but from the little spaces I've occupied, the person who actually nursed Baba back to be able to contest 2017, it's something that a lot of people don't know. We don't give her flowers for it. We don't give her credit. We just look at her as the last born. But actually, the person who kept Baba's diary, now I can reveal, the person who kept Baba's diary and made sure he was now on script is like, this country still needs you. And the person who had the presence of mind to see that and to help